There are secrets from World War II that never made it into history books. Not because they were unimportant, but because the world was never meant to know they existed. In 1972, a small batch of declassified OSS files revealed something so strange, so unbelievable, that most historians dismissed it immediately. A rumored German machine, capable of predicting the future of a battlefield months in advance. The file carried only one label: Operation Gold Dust, Do Not Release. According to the documents, Allied intelligence believed Nazi Germany had developed an experimental predictive engine, an early primitive ancestor of artificial intelligence, designed to calculate the outcome of wars using millions of data points. If the machine had been completed before 1944, the war could have taken a very different turn. Tonight, we open that forgotten file and uncover a story hidden beneath 80 years of silence. A story of fear, obsession, and a secret race to capture a machine that should never have existed.
To understand how such a machine could exist, we must return to the winter of 1943, a moment when Nazi Germany was staring into the abyss. Stalingrad had collapsed. The Eastern Front was bleeding men faster than Berlin could replace them. Factories were running day and night, yet production still lagged behind the growing demands of a losing war. Amid this desperation, a small group inside the SS Research Division proposed a radical idea. If Germany could no longer win through numbers, then they would win through prediction. The group called themselves the Ahnenerbe Efficiency Unit, a mix of mathematicians, cryptographers, and early computer theorists. Their vision was unlike anything the world had ever seen. A machine that could process logistics, weather, morale, fuel consumption, troop movement, and even subtle shifts in Allied strategy, and produce a mathematical snapshot of the future. According to surviving memos, one scientist wrote, "Victory will belong not to the strongest nation, but to the nation that sees one step ahead." It was an idea as bold as it was terrifying, and it set in motion the birth of Projekt Goldstaub.
Project Goldstaub, Gold Dust, was not a single machine. It was a system of 12 interconnected modules, each designed to analyze one layer of warfare: production rates, pilot survival probabilities, weather impact, supply chain vulnerability, even subtle changes in Allied command patterns. These modules were linked by thick copper cables, each carrying signals between hundreds of switches, relays, and rotating drums. It wasn't a computer as we understand it today, but a mechanical organism driven entirely by data. According to surviving technical notes, Goldstaub functioned like a statistical brain. It scanned thousands of historical patterns, compared them in real time, and produced probability maps, a primitive form of machine learning long before the term existed. One researcher wrote, "It does not predict what will happen. It predicts what is most likely to happen." And in warfare, probability can be more terrifying than certainty. OSS analysts later estimated that Goldstaub's earliest module could forecast troop loss scenarios in major battles with nearly 70% accuracy, a figure modern military analysts still find astonishing.
The first clue that something extraordinary was happening inside Nazi Germany came not from a battlefield, but from a mistake. In late 1943, OSS intercepted a coded SS transmission that referenced an unnamed device requiring 5 engineers on rotation 24 hours a day. Nothing in the German arsenal demanded that kind of constant attention, except radar stations and U-boat encryptors. But this wasn't located near any base. It was traced to a quiet industrial zone outside Dresden. At the same time, a French resistance operative reported a disturbing pattern. German counterattacks were arriving with mathematical precision, almost as if the Wehrmacht knew Allied plans days before they were executed.
MI6 analysts compared dozens of battlefield timelines and found a chilling consistency. Someone, somewhere, was giving Germany statistical foresight. A memo declassified decades later reveals their conclusion. The enemy may possess a predictive apparatus. Scope unknown. For OSS, that single sentence changed everything. If the Germans had found a way to anticipate the future, the Allies needed to locate that machine fast.
For OSS, locating the machine became an emergency priority. They believed Project Goldstaub was still incomplete, which meant Germany was vulnerable, and the Allies still had a chance to seize it intact. Washington authorized a covert mission under a new code name, Operation Gold Dust. The team assembled for the hunt was unlike any other during the war. 7 specialists, each chosen for a weakness in the machine that hadn't even been confirmed yet. A cryptanalyst capable of breaking obscure relay codes. A combat engineer trained in disabling explosive traps. A logistics expert who understood industrial power grids. And a young mathematician who could interpret whatever data the device might produce. Their first trail led east toward Warsaw, where resistant sources reported shipments of industrial equipment moving under unusually heavy SS escort. From there, the trail curved toward Dresden, then vanished into the dense forests of the Harz Mountains. The pattern was clear. The Germans were hiding something too valuable to move, yet too dangerous to leave unprotected. For OSS, the hunt had officially begun. The trail finally ended at an abandoned mining complex carved deep into the Harz Mountains, a place that did not exist on any German registry. On the night of March 11, 1944, the OSS team infiltrated the valley under heavy fog. From above, the complex looked dark, silent, dead. But underground, the vibrations told a different story. Something massive was running beneath their feet. They entered through a collapsed ventilation shaft and moved through a maze of reinforced tunnels. The air was warm, humming with electricity. Along the walls, thick cables disappeared into the rock, glowing faintly as if pulsing with a heartbeat. Then they saw it. A cavern-sized chamber filled with machinery, rows of rotating drums, synchronized relays, and towering metal frames stretching toward the ceiling. Projekt Goldstaub. But the Germans were already preparing to destroy it. Charges were wired along the support beams. A countdown unit had been armed. The OSS team had 8 minutes to decide the fate of the most mysterious machine of the war. Capture it intact, or die with it. As the engineers worked frantically to disarm the explosives, the mathematician on the team approached the control console. A steel panel covered in dials, ticking counters, and paper reels fluttering like frantic wings. One reel was still printing. Lines of numbers, dates, probability curves, and something far more disturbing. The machine wasn't just analyzing the present, it was generating future scenarios, branching forecasts of battles that had not yet occurred. Among the printouts was a projection labeled Frühjahr 1945, Spring 1945. Next to it, a chilling summary. Probability of Reich collapse within 14 months, 89%. The Nazis had built a machine to predict victory, and it had told them they would lose. But that wasn't the real twist. Another datasheet contained Allied operations that had never been leaked, never intercepted, yet Goldstaub had constructed plausible versions of them with alarming accuracy. It meant the machine wasn't just calculating German outcomes, it was simulating the minds of Allied commanders. The OSS team suddenly understood. This wasn't a weapon. It was a prophecy engine. With seconds to spare, the OSS team neutralized the explosives and began dismantling the machine. Goldstaub was far too large to move intact, so they broke it into modules, 12 steel crates, each weighing more than a small car. Every crate was stamped with a red directive: return to the United States under Project Paperclip. Eyes only. When the war ended months later, the world celebrated victory. But inside a secure research facility in Maryland, a different battle quietly began. American analysts spent years trying to understand how Goldstaub worked, how it processed millions of variables with only mechanical components, how it generated forecasts that rivaled the predictions of modern computers. Some findings were so unsettling that entire sections were blacked out in the declassified files. One memo simply reads, "The machine anticipates decision patterns, human ones." By 1947, Goldstaub had vanished into the deepest layers of U.S. intelligence. Officially, the machine was said to be dismantled. Unofficially, several of its modules were rumored to influence early Cold War strategy models. For the next 30 years, the United States denied the machine ever existed, and the world forgot the name Projekt Goldstaub.
By the early 1970s, most wartime secrets had finally surfaced. But one final document, misfiled, ignored, almost lost forever, revealed a chapter that no nation ever wanted to discuss. Project Goldstaub had a successor. A handwritten note from a German engineer described a planned upgrade, Gold Dust 2. Unlike the original, which predicted battles and logistics, Gold Dust 2 was designed to process something far more complex: the rise and fall of entire nations. It would analyze political movements, economic volatility, cultural pressure points, and social fractures. Its purpose? To forecast collapse long before collapse actually happened. The OSS analyst who reviewed the note added a chilling question in the margin. How far can a machine see before humans even know where they are going? No evidence suggests Gold Dust 2 was ever completed, but several modules recovered from Germany contained experimental frameworks that did not match the original design, as if someone had already begun constructing the next generation. In the end, Operation Gold Dust wasn't just about a machine. It was about a possibility that in the chaos of World War II, someone tried to build a device capable of predicting the fate of the world itself. And for 80 years, that possibility has remained the most unsettling secret of all.